So I was basically sitting here, not really having much to do, kind of bored out of my mind. So I just figured, why don't I just talk about Survivor as it comes on? Survivor 43 is coming on, so I figured, I'll just talk about each individual episode, see what happens. I don't know how I'll split this up or whatnot, but we'll see what happens. So as the episode's going on, the first thing I noticed is the woman with the missing leg. I believe her name is Noelle, and yeah, I can already see her having a big target on her back. Like, she could be viewed as like a hindrance really early on if she doesn't make a good mark on the challenges. And if she does end up making a good mark on the challenges, well, guess what? Now she has like this great overcome story of whatnot, and then no one's gonna want to take her to the end. So like, she's already starting at a disadvantage. The first reward challenge was actually kind of a shock because I mean, at one point, like there was this one guy from like the yellow tribe who almost took out somebody from the red tribe. He was like carrying this big heavy block, and he's like, I'm just gonna bring this over here. Oh crap! He like literally almost injured a guy from like the red tribe, and I just thought, wow, what if that just happened like right then and there? It would have been a shock. Also, it does look like both the yellow and the red tribe from the starts of it have like more physically fit people. Like you had Geo, who could not lift that block. He had to like roll it domino style of some kind. And then you had Carla, who did not look strong in the water whatsoever. Also, a smart move by Cody, but like figuring out like a hack to that challenge with that bamboo hole and whatnot. Definitely a person to look out for. It's also really funny to see as like the episode went on, they like went to the Bessie tribe, the red tribe, and it's really funny to see people like still not have like survival skills when they come onto this show. Like no one knew what they were doing on that tribe. It's just weird to see now, especially because like we're at Survivor 43, and then there's still people who don't do it. We got our first sob story for the season. It's from Ryan, and I'm starting to wonder if now, if like having a sob story that they can like highlight at this point is like a part of casting. Like I feel like you might not get casted if you don't have a sob story to like back it up. There is one note I want to make about Geo from the Blue Tribe. He volunteered for like the sweat challenge as opposed to like the trivia challenge, and luckily it worked out for him because of Ryan. But he almost made himself an immediate visible liability because I mean you could clearly see he was struggling with like that sweat challenge. And if they didn't get it down, Ryan could have easily been like, man, he didn't even try that hard, or like he was so burnt out and tired, he's gonna drag us down in challenges. But luckily it worked out for him. But that was almost like a really big botch by Geo. Luckily it didn't happen. Sammy from the Baka tribe, I can't believe they named it Baka. Forgive the anime jokes. I have to do it, otherwise I burn up inside and I just shrivel up and die. I spontaneously combust. Sammy's already starting out to look like an interesting character. Like he looks pretty smart, and he's like trying to hide it. Good way to like solve that challenge. I would not have been good at that. So good on him. Jesse, Anika, and Cody form an alliance against Justine and Noelle. But it also looks like Jesse's playing both sides from the red tribe. Interesting gameplay. Usually people in the middle, they kind of thrive, so we'll see how far Jesse does with it. Anyway, the girls from the Coco tribe immediately form an alliance and try to hook James. A good move by them. It was kind of actually a theme when I like watched the episode. Like all of the girls in like every single tribe kind of like just aligned with each other, except for the red tribe. So also let it be known right now, shout out from your rooftops, tell your coworkers at work, just tell everybody in the world, Sammy puts shih tzus in incinerators. What a weird thing to point out, by the way. Like why was that pointed out? I don't know. Clearly they already want me to think like Sammy's the villain, and then as the episode goes on, he almost blatantly says it. He does blatantly say it. I'll be the villain. I mean, look at these things. Why would you ever want to throw one in an incinerator? I mean, what's wrong with that guy? Seriously, who would do something like that? Who would give the guy money for something like that? Okay, this bit's getting kind of old. Hide your shit shoes. Hide your dogs, people. You don't want Sammy anywhere near them. Carla is actually doing pretty well. She's playing both sides with like Gio and Ryan, but also working with the girls as well. She doesn't want people like looking at her and thinking that she's weak, which justified. I mean, the first time I saw her, the first thing I noticed was that she didn't really do well in like the water. Like she walked out of the water tired and whatnot. So, fair point. Can't blame her for that one. And they're also making her look like the ultimate underdog. You know what I mean? Because it's like she gets on the boat and just like James is already thinking of like turning on her because he knows for a fact that she's going to get some kind of advantage or whatnot. They give her like multiple sob stories about like how she was like not accepted by her family, I believe. And then she got another sob story about her children and whatnot. Yeah, Carla's immediately looking like the ultimate fan favorite. That's what it looks like they're building her up as, which, you know what, I don't have a problem with. I mean, if she overcomes and wins the thing, sure, why not? I won't complain. Also, it's getting to the point now where it's like sooner or later they're just going to be like no survivor twist, no like idols or anything like that. Because I mean, if people are going to get targeted right away just for like having the chance of getting an idol or something like that, it's like, well, it's almost not fair. You know what I mean? Why even have that opening challenge if those people are just going to immediately have like a target painted on their back? You know what I mean? I like the new risk vote from like this season. Like the 41 and 42 are all right, but this one is still like up to a game of chance. So it really is like a risk. It's not just like reading people or anything like that. So I like this twist, you know. So like even when people inevitably like talk about it and it comes back in this season too, like it did for 41 and 42, there's still a chance of things like going wrong. So now it doesn't have to rely on somebody making a bad move to make interesting television, you know. So I like this opening twist. Um, the two people who risk their vote are Gabler and Dwight, which, you know what, good move by them because as it seems they're both at risk. You know, they weren't really in the majority alliance at all, so it was an okay risk. You know, Gabler already seems like he's on the outs, and Dwight, we I don't think we even hear any strategy talk from Dwight. You know, because like they're not in like the main three alliance that both of those tribes had at the time. So good move by them. Good on Coco for winning their first immunity challenge. Good on Bessie as well. And like this kind of just further cements the fact that Sammy's just going to be the villain of this season because he's already getting mad at Gabler. He's saying, "Don't fight with me! Don't fight with me!" And he's not. He's really not fighting with him. And then, you know, Gabler doing that thing where it's like he's too damn honorable for his own good in this game. He's saying, "I'm going to play my shot in the dark. It was my fault, so I should do something like that." After that challenge, it is very clear like the girls were in control, but like, you know, so much for girl power, right? Because like both the other girls that aren't named Mariah immediately decided to turn on her. You know what? It was strange, but like you could clearly see those two are running the show over there. You know, they pretty much control the tribe at this point. They have like alliances with every single other person, and they just agreed to unanimously vote her off. You know, and you know the weird thing is they made it seem like she was weak in the challenges, but I don't even remember seeing any like weak moments from Mariah. I mean, the tribe looked stacked. I mean, it was this happy kumbaya tribe. They did well in like the opening challenge, even though they didn't win. But you could clearly see who's in control now is just those two girls. Because like the guys just kind of did whatever they wanted, and they immediately did the first blind side of the season was on Mariah. So that was episode one. From what it seems, good cast. You know, they already have a villain, they already have an ultimate underdog and stuff like that. There's already interesting twists and the gameplay looks solid. You know, there's already like people who are like kind of front running and stuff like that. So we'll see how episode two goes. Episode two looked like there's going to be more portrayals as things were going on. We'll see what happens. Okay, episode two for Survivor 43 started off on the Baca Beach. I'm never going to stop laughing at that name. I've looked up a cast list now, just so I know who the hell I'm talking about. They talk about the terrible weather and whatnot, yeah. Which, by the way, if you want to play Survivor, but you don't want to have to deal with the terrible weather, you might as well go to like freaking Roblox, play Outlaster or something. There's like YouTube channels that make Minecraft Survivor. Like, go play that. Staying awake for like 70 million hours in a row is better than staying out there for like 74 days. First part mainly talks about Gabler, saying how he's like tired all the time and he wants to like rest, but he doesn't want to rest too long, but he needs the rest. You know, he doesn't want to look like the liability. It'll be interesting to see where Baca goes, because I mean, after the Mariah vote off, it looks like Ellie and Janine, I think is her name, it seems like they're the ones in control. So it's really gonna, seems like they're the ones that are gonna determine whether or not Gabler goes or whatnot. Because I mean, unless Gabler, Owen, and Sammy like just team up and start turning on them, well, the only person who's really in trouble is Owen, because I mean, Gabler's going to be gone soon, and then they're not going to get rid of Sammy, so Owen's in trouble. I mean, crap, he also kind of just put himself on the chopping block by saying, "I just got really, really freaked out when my name came up," and it's like, yeah, that you kind of just opened the door. It was almost like an invitation. It's like, all right, so you're just going to be paranoid all the time. You're going to be annoying to work with. How about I just vote you out? I always hate to see a steamroll between like competent players. So nothing against Ellen and Janine, but I hope the boys like stand together or whatnot. But I feel like the only person who would probably do that is Sammy, who has been portrayed as the villain. We just got us like a view of like how the tri dynamics on what the hell they call Bessie works out. So like there's the main three, which is Cody, Naneka, and Jesse, and then there's Justine and what's her name, Noelle. They're just kind of like a twosome so far, and then there's Dwight all by himself. Overall, Jesse's playing kind of okay. I think the one thing that might bury his game is if he tries to save Dwight or anything like that. Like it's good to make connections with everybody, but at the same time, you also don't want to make promises with everybody too, because like that stuff can haunt you. Anything can haunt you in this game. But I mean, if he's the guy that's talking to everyone, that's just like a big target right off the bat. Also, if he tries to save Dwight, that means he's like turning on everyone. I don't know how Noelle and Justine are gonna feel, but if he like turns on Cody, NECA's gonna be mad, as he said, and it's like he just gave up like the majority alliance just for Dwight, who, yeah, you like him, but kind of also just trash your own game while Dwight's kind of skyrockets a little bit. You know what I mean? Dwight, I want to say Dwight's doing good, but he's not. Like, yeah, he can talk to people, but he's not really like making that connection as it seems if he's on his own. Like, if Jesse's the only person he's got so far, that's not good. Like, it's good to have social connections, but that's only half of the game. You got to do everything else too. Not much update on the Blue Tribe, the Coco Tribe. Still that same four-person alliance, the women plus James. Makes me feel sorry for Gio and Ryan. So far, that's really just my favorite tribe, you know, because I mean, to me personally, it would be cool if Gio won, or if Ryan won, or if Lindsay won, or if Carla won. The other two I don't really care about. But it's funny because like it's the one tribe I want to see go to tribal council. At the same time, I also don't want to see them go to tribal council just because I feel like why would anyone get rid of like break up that four? It doesn't make a lick of sense. So it seems like it's just going to be Gio or Ryan. And I just point him out as my favorite, so it's going to be a sad tribal council if that happens. No one's making me laugh. He's over here saying stuff like, man, my friends and my family are going to be so proud of me back at home that I've lasted 5 days or 4 days and I haven't been a curmudgeon or anything like that. You're going to be so proud of me. And I'm like, bro, that's your threshold? There's like 30 plus days, then you're proud of the 5 achievement? Like, it's like 30 more days you got to go through, man. Dude, I'm worried for Owen. I'm very worried for Owen. I feel like he's gonna crack at this point. More news I was also kind of wrong about. Not even kind of, I was wrong about it because I thought Sammy was a part of that 3, but I guess it's Gabe who's the part of that 3. So if they're deciding between Sammy and Owen, I feel like it would be Sammy if that were the case scenario. At the same time, though, Sammy did what I was hoping, which is like the guys got together. I still think it was a bad move to get rid of Mariah, like the way they did. We'll see what happens because it is going to be an interesting tribal council if they go back. Back at the Baca beach, there was a little bit of like a subterfuge or whatever the freaking word is about them like going into Gabler's bag just to like read what the rules are for that idol. Which I don't know if it's just me or not, but I mean I feel like that was kind of pointless. Like I feel like they could have just asked him. You know what I mean? I mean, based on what the editing's telling me, it seems like it's like the girls and him, like they're supposed to be the trio, and then they're deciding between Sammy and Owen. And it's like I feel like they could have just asked. I'm wondering if that'll like come back later and just like ruin her game. You know what I mean? You got to be careful not to play too hard when it comes to these shows. The viewer advantage. Oh my god. So yeah, Cody found the beware advantage. He's got to get like special beads from everyone else, which I mean, I don't know. That's gonna be kind of hard for Cody. It'd be easy for Jesse, but not really for Cody. Whose votes are missing at this point? So Cody's vote is missing. Dwight's vote is missing. So if Jesse were to like vote with NECA, I guess I'm pronouncing her name wrong. It's not NECA, it's NECA. But they vote for Justine, and Justine and Noelle vote for NECA. So then it's Jesse and Noelle drawing for rocks. Well, no, it's the other two as well. And they may even go home without even like drawing or like casting a vote. Actually, I think yeah, because those two would be drawing rocks as well, right? Because I mean, those two would become immune, but everyone else draws rocks. Just because they vote doesn't mean they have immunity. So yeah, I think it's in Jesse's best interest to flip at this point. So that was I'm not in frame at all. Hold on. That was a great tribal council. That was fun to watch. I'm not sure who voted Cody. I guess it was Dwight. Good move by both Jesse and NECA to try to get those beads for Cody's magical hat. which I mean, like Cody's a salesman. He should have been able to get that. Like if he's confident at his job, that's rude. I shouldn't say that, but still, I feel like both Cody and Neck are in the power seat at this point because despite the fact that it was really Jesse doing a lot of the heavy lifting, NECA still has like her solid three people. Jesse still has a solid three people, but now he's got two other people that can't trust him, and Cody's still kind of just like sitting pretty. You know what I mean? I mean, the power players in the Vessi tribe are definitely NECA and Cody. But Jesse is unfortunately burying his own grave, digging his own grave rather. Also, as it turns out, it was actually Justine who voted for Cody. She said she got hoodwinked by Jesse, so I guess Jesse convinced her to do that as a failsafe option. Which a good move by Jesse just to like cover failsafes. Jesse is doing great strategically, but I mean, yeah, it's like as I said before. Like, luckily, it's only pre-jury, so I guess he doesn't worry about jury too much. But I mean, he's got to be careful when he plays like that because I mean, that's how Russell Hantz lost twice. You know what I mean? You got to be careful. I am rooting for Noel and Dwight because I mean they don't have the idol. Jesse's never gonna flip on them. And then NECA's never gonna flip on them. Cody might flip, but I seriously doubt he will. If they make it the merge, I'd be impressed. I think one of the unfortunate problems with NECA is that she's like standing next to two people who are one is like playing the game ruthlessly and the other one's playing the game real clever like yeah, they need her, but it may be one of those things where just no one sees it against, similar to how what happened to Tasha. Back at the Baka tribe, and I know at this point I've been making like a bunch of like anime jokes with the word Baka, but strangely enough, it actually kind of is appropriate to the situation here because I mean, the credit to the boys, they're making the girls think they're complete stupid idiots. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a good move, but I mean, they didn't really mean to do it. I mean, it's kind of easy to pretend to be stupid, but I mean, for some reason it worked. And I don't know if this is editing or anything like that, or they just genuinely believe that they're not playing the game for $1 million. You know what I mean? So credit to them. I guess at this point the girls are the underdogs. I'm hoping they wake up to like the fact that they're being played. There's also a lesson to be learned by Ellie's misstep here. I guess she really wanted to like try and big brain it when by making Kiba believe like he didn't even know how his own idol worked. It would have been amazing if it worked. I would have been laughing my ass off. But the problem with big moves, 9 times out of 10, you usually need somebody else. And well, that's the problem with big moves is they usually get you voted out. Not just because if it works, you're suddenly a big target, but because it takes a lot of calculated risk to make it work. At Cocoa Beach, I got to give props to Carla. That is exactly what I would have done. I mean, yeah, an immunity idol is great, but like it's almost like it defeats the purpose when it comes to the beware part of the advantage. I mean, it's good because like now you know where it is, and you could like keep checking to see who has it or something like that. You know what I mean? If she had taken that advantage, she would have come across as probably selfish, and a target would have gotten bigger on her back. I genuinely believe that in early game, pre-jury, you just got to find your footing first, and the beware advantage immediately kind of trumps that if you're not an expert freaking bounce beam navigator like you need to be in order for something like that. You know what I mean? I just got past the part where NECA was talking about like the ruined shelter and stuff like that, and how despite that everyone was still cool with God. The main thing I wanted to bring up is that I'm happy that we finally get a confessional with NECA because I mean I feel like we haven't gotten one since like the very beginning of the first episode. As of now, the only edits they've been giving to her, like her alliance, has been to either Jesse or Cody. So it's good I'm finally hearing from her again. Damn it, Carla! I just got done praising you, and I mean, people like to say, yeah, you got to take big risks, but I mean, leaving that thing there was a big risk because I mean, if they got the idol, you at least know where the idol is, and then you know it's definitely not with you. That's a problem. I feel like that this beware advantage is like a bunch of untapped potential because we're in an era where it's like everyone's like, oh, you got to take big risks, but I mean, I don't think people actually know what the word risk means. You know what I mean? It was a risk to leave it there. I was already a Carla fanboy at this point in time, but now officially I think I'm just a stand for her at this point. I don't even know what the hell that word means. I hear it on Twitch a bunch. I don't even know what the fuck it means. But yeah, I'm happy she made it work out. The editing doesn't really tell me everything. I always know, so I don't know if it's gonna just be something that's kind of swept under the rug, or if they're gonna like put two and two together. But as of now, I hope it is swept under the rug, and I hope she gets away with it. To have that kind of power going into merge, I hope Carla wins. I hope Carla wins. So after that immunity challenge, I have two questions. First one is, how is it like swimming when you don't have a leg? I mean, I feel like you need leg power just as much. Then again, I'm not a swimmer, I don't know. So I mean, is it a struggle or what is it like? Second question is, why did they put NECA back on a puzzle? Like, I don't think that's her best thing. Like, I'm sure like some people are gonna be mad. It's like, man, NECA's so useless. She can't do a puzzle. But I mean, no, it's like, why did they put her back on the puzzle? Like, does no one else want to do that puzzle? You know, Dwight at the end said there's no excuse. They had the puzzle, they failed it. But I mean, at this point, you've seen like track records. So I mean, if no one else is good at the puzzle, and you've seen how NECA performs out of puzzles, I mean, would it really have hurt that bad to switch it up? You want to win the immunity challenges. You don't want to just set yourself up to go to tribal council. So what happened? Like, why is NECA back on the puzzle? So the big reveal is that it was NECA who was like very adamant about doing the puzzle, quote unquote. And my point still kind of stands. It wasn't really just NECA that failed. I mean, it was still a tribe decision. Like, people could have just said no. It's cool that you want to be nice to people, but at the same time, it's your $1 million on the line, not just theirs. It's all of yours. So I don't know. I probably wouldn't have done that. I probably wouldn't have put NECA on the puzzle. Probably would have just made her swim. Great move by Noelle, being open and honest, and just basically getting that freaking, I don't know what it is yet, but that advantage for basically free. You know, just being open and honest is usually a really good policy on Survivor. Usually. I mean, I could name a couple instances where it wasn't, aka Dreams and PG. You know, also kind of like a bad move by Bessie, because I mean, it's weird. We're in an era where it's like 41 and 42. They've seen those episodes, so I mean, they know, and even with that knowledge, there's even more knowledge about how they had somebody go to this like individual island already for like the no risk and no reward thing, or risk reward, whatever. And they sent the person who was supposed to be kind of like on the bottom, you know, sending Noelle like that. It's like not a good move, not a good move at all. So things worked out for the bottom of that alliance. And like I said, I was rooting for both Dwight and Noelle. So I hope it works out for them. I'm going to preface this following tribal council with this statement. I'm excited for it. Because I mean, there's a vote steal, and of course, after that vote steal, there's going to be an idle play. I think. I very well could fall on my face here, but I'm interested to see what happens. Before it happens, I want to try and guess what would happen. She will play it tonight. She will steal Jesse's vote, and Cody will play his idol on Jesse. And so Jesse will be safe, so their votes won't matter, and then NECA and Cody will vote out Noelle. That's what I think is going to happen. God, I thought I was about to see like a major botch tribal council. So she didn't use it. And they did the tribal thing, which is they voted out the weakest link, which I don't think has happened in a while. I don't remember every season like and every single vote off the top of my head, but I feel like it's been a while since that happened. You know, I feel like numbers has always been more important in the game, which it is, to be fair, but I mean, yeah, I wasn't expecting that. I mean, I suppose it is fair because NECA hasn't been performing well in the challenges, and like she's clearly smart just based off the fact that she did like, I don't know, freaking engineer level math in like an instant. I wasn't expecting it, and now Noelle has a vote steal. There's only 4 people left. There's an idol left. This is shaping up to be a good season so far. The first 2 episodes I've liked. I can't wait for episode 4. I want to preface this by saying I may have accidentally read a spoiler, but not really a spoiler. One of the more famous Survivor YouTubers mentioned about a shocking vote out for episode 4. I don't remember if it was Palladium or Once Upon an Island, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so first one, we went back to the Vessi tribe. Based off gameplay, I I think Cody's actually probably still doing the best, and close second would be I already forgot her name. Damn, what the hell's her name? Yeah, it's Noelle. um, yeah, Noelle's like close second because she has a lot of power now, just with that one vote steal. Like it was a vote steal. Third place, Dwight. Fourth place, Jesse. Because I mean, well, I agree with the move, like getting out one of the weaker persons on your tribe, so you never go to tribal council again. If you do lose anyways, he's in the worst spot because they're all going to target him probably. You know what I mean? Just because he played both sides. Yeah, I don't really see them going after Cody as much. Because, like, even though both Jesse and Cody, won some favor back with Dwight and Noel for voting out NECA, at that point, they've already solidified those two as a duo just based off their actions. So I think, if anything, the one mostly in trouble is Jesse. Over at Tabaka Beach is, it kind of demonstrates, like, one of the most difficult parts of the game that, if you're new to the show, that you wouldn't know this, but, like, it's more just about the strategy and stuff like that. It's even more about the social game. It's the fact that, anyone will come up with a reason to vote you out, and even if it's like the subtle thing, like, oh, he's getting on my nerves at camp, you know what I mean? But you never want to be the person that asks, hey, am I getting on your nerves? Am I getting on your nerves? Am I getting on your nerves? Because one, if you do that, you're going to get on people's nerves, and two, if you do it even right and don't get on people's nerves just asking that question, they're going to say, oh man, he's trying to play really hard, and then you're even in more trouble. You know what I mean? The hardest part of a survivor is just blending in. You got to change who you are as a person just to live with half these people that you don't even like. You know what I mean? But you're not going to like them. You're starving, you're tired, you're going to hate everything. People especially. As for who's standing on top, I feel like I do not remember cast members anymore. Sammy? It's not Owen, it's not Gabler, so it has to be Sammy. I feel like he's in the best spot because no matter what, he's like formed two alliances on both sides. You could literally just jump ship to both sides, so good on Sammy. What side do I think Sammy will jump to? Probably still be the boys as far as I know. Like, yeah, even if he's annoyed with Gabler. I mean, I think he thinks about the game too hard for his own good, so he may just see Gabler as like a pawn that he might want to take to the end. I mean, the way he's playing, he's already trying to like win, so why not take Gabler with you? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know if both the girls, Ellie and Janine. Yeah, there we go, Janine. I don't know if they're still like oblivious to the boys. Gabler's all in with the guys, so Owen's definitely going to be all in with the guys. We didn't really hear anything with Owen about how he's getting or how Gabler's getting on his nerves. I guess if it does go to tribal council, I feel like the guys will come out on top. By the way, guest appearance, my phone, because I needed to like remember the cast list. After that reward win by Vesey, and after what I saw Cody do, I'm not really sure if he's a front runner or if he is. I can't tell whether or not it's a good move or something like that, because on the one hand, I mean, he showed how do I put this? I mean, he basically just showed that he is good at this game just by being a salesperson in general. You know what I mean? He played them, and that's a good skill set to have. But because you were the person who went out there, because you were the person who put your face on, the steal from the other camp reward. I mean, you basically just like highlighted yourself. When it comes to a gamer, you're kind of supposed to like be invisible for the most part. At least not until like later. Him doing what he did just pointed him out to everyone. You know what I mean? Like he painted himself red to like a bull. You know what I'm saying? If he does win, it'll be with a target on his back all the way through once the merge hits. At the same time, though, if he is a good salesman, he may find some way to like get people to forgive him from that. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure, but I'm interested to see where Cody goes next in the game. Okay, so after the immunity challenge, a couple notes. One, seems like Gabler is in more of a hole than I thought he was, just by hearing Owen getting sassy with him. Seems like it was just getting on everyone's nerves. They didn't really show Owen back at like the first or like the second scene of the episode, like getting annoyed with him, but you definitely hear it in the challenge. So much so that Ellie, the person who I think likes Gabler the least, had to tell Owen to quit being sassy. At this point, I don't know if Gabler's GOAT status anymore. I feel like he's not at that apex yet. I feel like he's just annoying enough that he could get voted out, but not annoying enough to be goated. So if they go to tribal council, I feel like it would be Gabler at this point, just based off how everyone views everything. Then again, Owen should know damn well that he is not gonna survive without Gabler, or that men's alliance. The only way for Owen to survive that without Gabler would be Sammy getting on everyone's nerves, or one of the girls turning on each other, which doesn't look like that would happen. Sammy looks like he's very smart and blending in, and the girls are just tight. Period. So Baka and Bessie teaming up against Coco. Too early to tell whether or not that was a good or a bad move. When you lower numbers on a tribe, it makes it easier for like people to flip, or like people to team up with each other. Like if Coco wins constant immunity challenges during the tribal phase, it's very unlikely that some people are going to stray from the numbers. Even if it is in this season, like, you know, you don't want to be the person that flipped on 5 people. You don't want that on your resume when it comes to like the final tribal council, because they're going to bring that up and it's just going to be used against you. It always happens. Just before even watching the immunity challenge finish, before watching the next scene, what I think is going to happen is the girls are just going to stick together. I think James is going to stick with them. So it would really come down to Ryan or Gio. I feel like it would be Gio, just because Ryan seems like he would always be useful on challenges. Now, based off what Peridium or Once Upon an Island, I don't remember which one, but it was supposed to be a shocking vote off tonight. So I feel like it may come down to either Gio or Lindsay. That's what I feel like, who are the 2 targets tonight. We'll see if I'm right. Okay, so Tribal Council hasn't happened yet. I was sort of right, but also sort of not. One of the targets is Gio, but the person Gio was targeting, because he thinks he's king, is Cassidy. I don't even remember. I didn't even remember Cassidy's name. It feels like she's gotten very little airtime so far. But I also dropped Lindsay as a name for a target because I figured, I don't know, people may see her as a threat. Turns out I was sort of right and sort of wrong about that too. She is the target, but it's not because people see her as a threat. Quite the opposite. They are annoyed of her. Another important lesson as a survivor is that even if you think you're doing good, you're probably not. So you probably don't want to think that you're on top of everything like Gio and Lindsay are doing. So much so that you get paranoid. Like Lindsay thinks that she's one of the best players out there, but she's really not. I also like that it was Carla who is coming up with the idea to possibly blindside Lindsay. Like I said, I'm rooting for Carla all the way. Let's see how Tribal Council goes. I was right. Lindsay got voted out. Just, it was a pretty bad move by her part, like continuing to like check back at everyone and getting paranoid very obviously. It's weird because it's like she claimed herself to be like a really good player, but I mean, nothing happened yet. You know what I mean? She hasn't gone to Tribal Council yet. She hasn't really had alliances tested or anything like that. So I mean, how do you know that you're the best player out there, or like a really good, strong player, when you haven't really fully played? Lindsay seems like a decent person. But that paranoia, yeah, I can understand why they would definitely vote somebody out. You don't want to have to deal with that late game. Okay, so episode 5, we're starting on the Baka Beach, or no, not the Baka, the Coco Beach, the Blue Tribe. I'm a little confused as to the stray vote that Gio did. At first, I thought he was just because he was out of the loop, but now it's like they told both Ryan and Gio everything. Which one? I don't know why you would do that. Just it seems like you're risking your own game just by telling them that. Just I'll vote off Lindsay or something. I didn't really understand it, but it sounded like Ryan convinced Gio to vote for him, or not vote for him, but vote for Cassidy, because I don't know, something about him playing her. Okay, actually, I need to rewatch that. I rewatched it and it still didn't make sense to me. That like they voted for Cassidy because she might have been just giving Lindsay information. In which case, the one vote, I suppose, I don't know, maybe because Lindsay might have had an idol, I guess. Either way, it was risky, and I don't think they had to tell them that. It could have been like a 3-2-1 vote. I guess now they're setting up for the next blindside between Ryan and Gio, because now they think they're in the loop, so they're not going to see anything coming. So good move by those 3, both Cassidy, James, and Carla. Good move on them. Cassidy's also funny. She was talking about how Gio's getting sassy, and I didn't see that on the edited episode. Seems like he was just asking questions. If anything, she sounded like she was getting sassy. Janine's kind of funny. Beware, ow, advantage, ow. This thing, ow, is, ow, 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 ow. It's covered in ants. Why am I still holding it? And then she goes over and hugs. Ellie. Just gets her covered in ants too. Back on the Baka Beach, the antics continue. I'm trying to figure out the difference between Jesse's playing both sides and Sammy's playing both sides. But the main thing is that just because they haven't gone to tribal council yet. Oh, wait, have they? Oh, yeah, no, they did go to tribal council. The girls and everyone else voted off the other girl, whoever that was.
Where's my phone?
Mariah, that's her name. And I think the reality is Jesse has had to basically reveal his hand. Sammy, not really, because he's kind of good with everybody, and everyone's still working together. You know, there's still that sort of kumbaya kind of feeling when it comes to that tribe. It hasn't happened yet because there's still a tribal council. I'm trying to figure out which one would be more matter as Sammy when he realizes that he's flipped. Because I don't really know what Sammy's going to do, which really is the reason why I'm talking right now. I don't know who's going and who's not going. The fact that Sammy doesn't like that Janine has an idol tells me that he will vote against them, against the girls. And I feel like Owen doesn't like the fact that they literally just tried to hide it in front of him like that. Would they risk? Yeah, they would probably play it on Janine, because what the story's been telling us so far when it comes to this tribe is that the girls are oblivious to the guys working together. So if they had to go to tribal council, I feel like it'd be Janine. I don't literally remember the last time throwing a challenge ever worked for a player. So I don't know why people keep doing it. I think, honest to God, I think the last time it actually worked out for the people who threw the challenge in the end was way back in season 3 at Africa. Because at that point, you know, it worked out for basically all of that group. You know, they made it to like final 3 altogether, like that, final 4 even with Tom. And in this case, it's like, oh, Ryan, why? So after watching that scene with Ryan and everything on the Cocoa Beach, I want to describe a video game to you guys. Not a video game, a board game of sorts. No, not even a board game, like a role-playing game. You know, you create your own characters and like roll dice and stuff like that. The game I'm thinking of is a game called Marvel Superheroes. It has a chart that basically determines everything. You basically roll on that chart using a certain kind of dice, and then that just determines whether or not you're successful or whatnot. It's funny because one of the catchphrases I heard once upon a time was "keep it simple, stupid," because that's the game. Like most of those games have like a really complicated system that you have to take some time to learn. I know like Pathfinder has like a lot of rules. Hell, KOTOR has a lot of rules, and that's a video game. Just think about that for a second. I like the game because of that concept. There's just everything simple. I bring it up because Ryan, keep it simple, stupid. Like you didn't have to come up with this. One lie was enough. You didn't have to come up with this like big convoluted one where it's like, no, you guys have to give me a certain kind of energy. And it's like, what? Like, dude, if you really want to fool her, just like hear her out and like listen to her bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Which at the end of the day, you're the one being played. So it's not even like bullshit because it's real. So I just watched the part where the 3 players that were sent over to that freaking island or whatever just chose to risk all of their votes. And the absolute funniest thing about that entire scene was that it was everybody who was most likely on the bottom of their tribe. But they all thought that for some reason they were safe and in the numbers. It's funny because Gio said he desperately needed this when he thought he didn't, but really he desperately does need that. Jesse, I think he feels safe no matter what, which I'm not really sure why he would. Maybe I'm wrong in that. I don't really know. I haven't seen like a confession of him this entire episode, except for that one right there, and it wasn't really talking about him. It was more Tim talking about Gio. Anyway, the point is, I think out of everyone, he would be the first one to get voted out if it's not Dwight right off the bat. Yeah, he needs it desperately too. And as for Janine, I mean, she has an idol, but she's not aware of like Sammy possibly betraying her with the other 2 guys. So in the end, yeah, she kind of needs it too. Because if she gets it and it's like an immunity idol, that means the girls are safe. You know, because now they got 2 under their disposal, and she's not gonna tell the boys anything. So yeah, it was kind of funny, just like the irony of all of it. I very much agree with something that Sammy just said right now. It was at the point where it's like she revealed that she lost a vote, and he mentioned that you don't want to let people know that you're playing the game harder than everyone else, because that's one more reason for them to vote you off. Don't quote me. It's not the exact quote, but it was something along those lines. And that's really why I don't like the fact that they took a return trip over to that island for risking the vote again. Because at the end of the day, maybe once it's fine, but twice, you're basically signing up your game's death warrant. You know what I mean? You're signing up that will, as opposed to just floating by. And it's funny that your decision, like your target in the game, is increased by something that you can't control. And It's not really fair when something like that happens twice. Even if they weren't honest about it the first time around and they just hid it from everyone, if it happens a second time, then that group is going to know that they're lying. So now the first person who went originally to go risk their vote is in danger. But now the first people set it up. It's like, oh, actually, we're going to be honest about it. You could risk a vote to get an advantage. And now they're going over there. And now it's like, oh, you want to risk to get an advantage? Why? Would you have like already like an immunity idol or a steal a vote or something like that? Why would you do that? You know what? Forget you. I'm going to vote you off. You know what I mean? It's a vicious cycle. And I suppose, yeah, you could not risk your vote, but at the same time, then everyone else is going to risk your vote, and like you don't want to have to deal with advantages like that. I mean, I like this twist of how you got to risk your vote. I like it way better than, like the prisoner's dilemma or something like that, whatever the hell that was in 41 and 42. But I don't like it. I don't like it being done multiple times when everyone just shares the information whatsoever. I am not sure how to feel about both James and Carla wanting to turn on Cass. I don't even know if it's an actual thought. Maybe it's just something that the episode showed us for no reason. I don't know how to feel about that. Because on the one hand, if they continue to build trust with Ryan and Gio, that's like an advantage on their side. But on the other hand, it's like, well, I agreed with voting off Lindsay. I agreed with it because you still have numbers at the end of the day. With this one, it's sort of like voting off NECA, like how Jesse and Cody did, except the problem is they did it because she was becoming a liability at the challenges. If they do it, it's just because they don't have to deal with a quote unquote Lindsay number 2. And it's like that's not a good reason. Wanting to save yourself for challenges, fine, that's understandable. I can understand that. But at this point, you're just like voting off anyone who's ever going to think you're suspicious. And in which case, that's how you get voted off, because now you're like just the same kind of person. You just don't show it the same way. We're about to go into tribal council. What I think is going to happen is that based off the way that the three of them have been playing, how they're able to manipulate both Ryan and Gio the way they've been doing so far, I feel like it'd be a really dumb idea to vote off Cassidy at this point. I think it's good to just, well, I don't know, actually. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I'd have to think like 50 million moves ahead just to see if it works. I think the best move to do right now is to vote out Gio. Because like, if you can play it well enough to Ryan and say we didn't want to have to deal with that advantage, I think you'll still have like numbers. And as far as I know, Ryan would still be, for the most part, loyal. Because I mean, they also have that thing about how like 2 different tribes tried to vote them off. So I was right. They did vote out Gio. But the more and more I think about it, I don't know if it was the best move or not. I don't know. It's one of those scenarios where I don't have an answer to like what the best move is. I'd have to like see into the possible future. I see the argument of like just getting rid of him now so you don't have to deal with that advantage. At the same time, though, when you really think about it, maybe this game is full of advantages like the other games. So maybe it would have been good to keep that power and make it so that the 4 of you are tight no matter what. It turns out there is a merge. I was expecting at least like one more tribal council before the merge happened, but okay. So I'm looking forward to episode 6 now. Episode 6, the merge has started for Survivor. I'm really happy. I just saw the scene with Owen listing every single advantage because I completely forgot, probably much like everyone else. So it's good that not only Owen did this, but the producers did this in the editing room. I don't remember why Janine and Jesse don't have a vote. Oh no, yeah, they risked it and Gio got booted. The fact that Noelle immediately told Owen, good on her, because she knows for a fact that Cody and Jesse are not going to keep her safe. So good gameplay so far. Can't complain. I'm happy I at least remember stuff now, thanks to this edit. Played through episode 6, just a couple things to make note of so far. Poor Ellie, first of all, because she continues the path of being oblivious to everyone else's interests and strategies, similar to both Gio and Ryan. The only difference being so far that no one's exposed her on it yet. You know what I mean? She's playing strategically, but the social isn't there yet. The sooner like people vote against her, the sooner she's going to realize how people aren't always listening to her. And speaking of Ryan, I mean, I applaud him for trying to make that final 7. It's one of those social things again, where it's like, he tried it and it didn't work out, and now people are going to see him as playing hard and they might just vote him off for it. Or they might keep him around if they think he's like just that bad at the game. But yeah, I applaud him for trying. My favorite person so far is Gabler, just because he came in like a ball and chain, just blew up Ellie's game right off the bat. Like Jesus, it was funny seeing Janine all pissed off. I think at this point Gabler's probably a goat. I'll probably see him at final 3 or 2, depending on what they do, or maybe not. I don't know. I guess it depends on how jury's starting. At the end of the day, Gabler's kind of reminded me of Mike, where it's like he just throws people under the bus, and now he thinks he has control, but really doesn't. He just comes across as like wishy-washy and just does whatever he wants in the moment. Which, if the last season told us anything, the jury doesn't really respect that kind of game. So we'll see if he continues down this path or not. Okay, a couple notes before the Tribal Council starts. I'm on the commercial break right before it. It seems like the targets are Ellie and James, though based off that interaction right before the commercial break, I feel like it's just going to be Ellie. I mean, I'd be pissed if I was Ellie. The fact that Gabriel just blew up my entire game like that. At the same time, though, it's hard to say that she didn't bring it on herself. I mean, it all goes back to that backseal. I feel it made it seem like she was allied with him. She could have just asked him to like read it. If Ellie is voted out, Gabler's going to claim that as his move, which, I mean, yeah, but at the same time, I don't think you want to claim that one. That's like one of those moves that are so bad that, yeah, it might have been badass, but you don't want to be the one known with it. It wasn't even really that badass, to be honest with you. It's just going to hurt your game in the long run. Like, everyone's going to remember you for that, and no one will vote for you for that. The other target is James, mainly just because Ellie tried to realign that one-time Vessi Baka alliance against Coco, which, yeah, fair enough. It would have been an easy vote off. It's just that, again, now with everything all centered around Ellie, I think it's I think it's just Ellie that's going to be going home. So the funny thing about this episode is you see Ellie's eyes like wide and clear. Like no matter where she is in the episode, she's got her eyes like wide. She's just like, you know what I mean? Gabriel blowing up everybody's game also because even Janine got it, was a part of it. And he like let it loose about how she has an idol now, and it's like, oh fuck, I mean shit. Do I think Janine will play it on Ellie? Hard to say at this point because I mean, yeah, it would be a good move to like save her ally, but at the same time, I feel like it's a sinking ship anyways. That you might as well just keep it for yourself. I don't know if she knows it's a sinking ship. Probably not. Because as far as I know, Sammy and Owen want to work with them, but I don't know if they could get anyone else after Gabler blew up their entire game. What happens? I actually don't even remember like who stole from the back. I don't remember if it was Ellie or Janine. I want to say it was Janine, but like I don't remember. I genuinely don't remember. I just know it was one of the girls. I think it was Janine actually, not Ellie. That's what people say. It's a social game. Like yeah, there's strategy involved, but none of it matters if no one even wants to talk with you or work with you. This is a lesson Gabler's going to learn the hard way. As I predicted, it was Ellie went home. She didn't play. Janine didn't play her out. Am I even saying her name right? Is it Janine or Gian or I don't know. I keep hearing Janine. At least I think I keep hearing Janine. She didn't play her idol on Ellie, regardless. She seems shocked, which I don't know. If she really was shocked that night, it just plays more into the fact that she wasn't able to grasp onto what other people were thinking about, which in Survivor, that's bad. That's very bad. Either way, she still has an auto though, so she'll be good, at least for the next one. I think Gabler is a GOAT. That being said, he can spin it back around, just so long as he doesn't do any of this crap again. You know what I mean? If he like cleans up his act right now, he could probably still win the season if he even makes it there. But as it stands right now, if he keeps doing what he's doing, which it looked like he will be doing, if the trailer is any indication of what's happening next, he is the GOAT. It's hard to keep track of who votes with who because there was like 14 votes to keep track of, so I'm not gonna even bother right now. I'm sure it'll point it out, freaking Wikipedia. Well, I don't know who's working with who, so that's just the thing. We'll see if it gets more clear in the next episode. First part of the episode's talking about how it's mainly focusing on Ellie's blind side and how Janine feels and how Gabler feels about the blind side itself. It's hard to tell like whose game is thriving after this one first vote. I mean, the merge is still like the merge still has a plentiful amount of players, so I don't really know whose game is thriving right now. In terms of Gabler's game, it's hard to tell because on the one hand, if he keeps playing like this, he is going to make people think that he is the easy beat. which will get him like a golden ticket to the end. So I mean, that's 100,000 in your pocket. At the same time, though, if people think he's going to keep playing like this, they're probably not going to want to play with him, and they're probably going to vote him out. We'll see how this group takes it. As for Janine, also hard to tell because at the end of the day, it was basically public knowledge at that point that those two are working together. Now that she's gone, I don't know if people will just see her as a free agent or if they'll just axe her just to make the easy vote. And so, like, the next move, because some people will do that just to, like, get through the next day. Anyone in Coco, right now, currently, they did okay with this vote. They basically took off all the targets on them because originally it was going to be like Baka and Bessie teaming up against Coco again. But really, because of Gabler, that stopped. Right now, though, it still seems like that's going to be the case because there was also talk of like another tribe mix, and it just seems like Vessi and Baka are still thinking about working together. Meanwhile, Coco's just kind of like, it doesn't seem like they're making any deals with anyone. So anyone in Coco right now is in trouble. However, based on some of like the trailers, basically saying how like Noelle thinks she's running things, or maybe how Gabler might be going too rogue. Maybe it seems like Bessie and Baka will just turn on each other, and then Coco could just, you know, stay quiet and not get in anyone's way. Hard to tell. We'll see what happens. Okay, so real quick to talk about this new challenge twist and whatnot. Basically using pairs until the final four, and then you compete against whoever you paired with in some other pair, or the immunity challenge. It's getting to the point now where Survivor's turning into Big Brother, where it's like expect the unexpected and whatnot. Usually in like Survivor, there's ways to plan accordingly to any kind of twist that's approaching. You know, your game isn't dictated by a twist itself. Usually, these last couple seasons have been kind of different from that format, and this is like another example of that, where it's like just random things happen, and hopefully it works out for you in the end. And that's more a Big Brother kind of thing, because Big Brother does not care. There's been multiple times where it's like somebody's game was destroyed because of their twists. That being said, when it comes to Survivor, the way they're doing it here, for the most part, it's acceptable because there's still like 12 or 13 people in the merge. So it's not like anyone's game is going to get totally destroyed based off of something like that. If they did this at like Final 6 or Final 8, then I would have had some apprehension. I don't even know if I'm using that word correctly. So in a way, it's kind of exciting. That is powerful wind. I don't know if you can hear that. Anyway, you know, I like Noelle. I want to see Noelle go far. I don't even mind her winning. But she seriously needs to stop giving these heartfelt speeches about how everything is great and everyone else is great. And please accept me as being great. Like, good Lord, woman. No one's going to want to sit next to you at the final three if you keep saying stuff like that. You're going to be too damn golden girlish. Tribal Council's vote is about to start. Pause it here just to talk about it. I don't really know what's going to happen yet. I'm still kind of processing it. As far as I know, the two targets coming into it are Noelle, who is apparently starting to control things, which the editing isn't really showing that, but Jesse thinks that, so who cares what the editing shows. And the other target is James, which his target only got made bigger because he found the knowledge is power advantage, where he could steal an idol or an advantage at Tribal Council. Both are logical reasons because Baka Vessi alliance working down Coco. I don't think they'll vote out Noelle here because as far as I could see, only negative things come from it. So they'll probably stick to their word, and James is probably going to be the next one who goes. That's my prediction. Let's see if it's true. Okay, I was wrong on multiple levels because Dwight got voted out, which I was not expecting. Did I miss something? Like, I understand the fact that it was both Cody and Jesse that flipped. I'm just not sure why they flipped it to Dwight as opposed to Noelle. I thought that was their target. I don't know, maybe that was Coco influencing them, that we're not going to vote for Noelle, but we are going to vote out Dwight. I don't understand how Coco keeps doing multiple times after multiple times. Coco has always looked out. They have always come out as the top tribe, despite the fact that there's even two tribes against them. Coco has just come out as the top tribe multiple times. I don't understand how they're doing it. I feel like because of this, Jesse and Cody will not make it to the end of the game. I think it was too early to make a move like that because I mean there's still a long way to go, even just the final three. So now they've risen as the top dogs, and now someone else is just going to take them out. Based on the way this group's playing, it's not like the group's just going to lay down and let them reign for now and then take each other out. They're going to take out top dogs no matter what. Good blindside. I just don't know if it's going to work out for them in the long run because now you got what was left of that Baka Vessi alliance turning on them 100%. At the end of the day, it's only going to be Coco that thrives because now Baka and Vessi are just going to eat each other and Coco's just going to be left alone from what it looks like. I don't understand how this is happening to Coco. I don't get it whatsoever. Oh God! I just watched the opening of episode 8. Oh no, poor Janine. Poor Janine. And now Jesse somehow has her idol. I want to say that's cheating. I'm like rooting for Janine at this point because she's having a worse game of luck than Aubrey was. Great move by Jesse, really. Like everyone can take credit for flushing an idol by accident, but Jesse's the one who actually has the idol. Everyone's gonna be looking around for an idol, looking dumb and all, while Jesse's kind of like sitting back laughing at all. I don't know what to say about Janine's game at this point because I mean it's twice that she's been on the wrong side of the boats, but with this one time she lost in idol. I don't know if anyone's gonna take her seriously. If she gets to the end, if she gets to the final tribal council, she's definitely the ultimate underdog. But at the same time, I don't really know if anyone's going to target her anymore. So I mean, I don't even know if she's the underdog. I feel like she's just the floater, just floating back to the end because everyone else was a bigger target at the time, and that sucks. It sucks to hear for her. I've never wanted to see a player come back this hard in my life. Like I want her to be able to just vote out everyone here on out from now on. I want her to be the mastermind. I had no idea Sammy jumped ship and flipped on her, in a sense. I thought it was just Jesse, Cody, and then the rest of Coco. I didn't know he jumped on board with that plan to vote out Dwight. So, I mean, if there's anyone who could save both Owens and Janine's game, it's definitely Sammy. It's funny because at the very beginning, I called him like the villain. It seems like they were obviously setting him up that way. And now, in my opinion, he's kind of one of the heroes because he's helping the underdogs. So, hey, cool. Went from devious villain to vigilante. Okay, the targets seem to be between Ryan and Janine. I'm trying to think who would vote for who in this scenario. I think Sammy's okay with voting for Ryan, which if it works, I can't believe he pulled that off. I don't know what's gonna happen because at the end of the day, I've seen these players flip randomly to like votes that are the majority, and I don't even know how they got into that majority because I'm not seeing that. So it's not very clear cut this season. I think a lot of them just like to use numbers, so if anything, it's probably just going to be Janine that goes home. Yeah, it didn't make sense to just randomly flip Ryan. Like, yeah, Ryan's a physical threat, but he hasn't won anything yet. And as for his social game, I mean, they basically pointed it out is that he doesn't really strategize or socialize too much because he's like worried. He's like bringing home fish. He's trying to be Aussie in this new age, which doesn't really work. I've never seen it work. He would be the first if it ever happened. At the end of the day, I don't think Ryan's much of a big threat either. Maybe late game, but probably why I figured it was Janine. Good on James for keeping his 7 intact. I didn't think Sammy would flip when it came to the majority. So for sure that's why that happened. Poor Owen is all alone now. It'd be a miracle if he ever came back from all this. Kind of bad for Sammy's game because he made that pitch and then he just went back to the majority. So similar to like Albert from South Pacific, he's like bring up all these plans, but he never acts on any of them. That just kind of pisses people off. Just started episode 9, just got past the first immunity challenge where it was split. We have Carla with immunity. We have Carla with immunity, and then we have Cody with immunity. Given everything that's happened so far, I think this is the best case scenario for Owen and Sammy because it's both of them with Noelle on a voting block against both James and Carla, who are the 2 biggest front runners in my opinion. They can get the numbers 100%. I don't think Noelle will have any love lost for James. At the same time, though, you got to wonder if the idol will come into play or the advantage deal will come into play because James could very well use it on Carla, and if he gets that right, he has the idol. Or Carla could just play it on James, which I don't know if she'll play it on James. I doubt it, considering that she thinks he already has like 8 other people. As for the other voting block, it included Ryan, Jesse, Cody, Gabler, and Cassidy, I think is her name. Based off that, it'll probably be Ryan as the easy vote. Cody and Jesse will stay together no matter what. Cassidy's with Ryan, but I don't think she cares about Ryan at all, so she'll definitely be down to vote him out. And Gabler's just kind of a free vote. So if anything, it'd be between Ryan and Gabler, which means it's probably just going to be Ryan. And I don't think anyone's going to use an idol over there. So that one's kind of not as climactic. We'll see what happens with this next set. First little bit of drama I've seen this season between that fight between Owen and James. If anything, that was Owen's best move because now at least Sammy and Noel realize, hey, if he's on jury, which he will be, that's one less vote that he has to worry about. Might as well vote out James. You know what I'm saying? Um, as for voting out Owen, it also, I guess, it's also a good move on James's part. When you create drama, at the end of the day, you're probably going to lose a vote, but if you don't do it too often, you probably still might win. You still have that opportunity because, I mean, you don't need every single vote to win. That would only be one. Of course, in James's case, I don't even know if Janine will vote for him either. It's hard to say which one of them is the bigger goat. So I don't know what either Sammy or Noel are going to do.
It amazes me how much control over the entire tribe both Jesse and Cody have. I don't understand how they're still in this game.
I don't know how much longer they have in this game. I mean, the fact that they're clearly gun runners in the edited episodes, I don't think they're long for this game. I think they're on their way to the jury in the next 2 episodes or so. I do not understand why Sammy leaked the plan to Carla, of all people. Even if he didn't know that she had an idol and she could just basically say, no, both me and James are safe, why do you leak that plan? You have 3 votes. You have the 3 votes. Maybe he's playing the long game. I don't know. But as it stands right now, it was stupid. We'll see what happens. But I mean, good lord. Okay, just got past the James eviction. Good moves by all of them. I feel like Sammy kind of pulling in Carla does not help anybody's game except maybe his. It was weird for Carla to do that. Might have costed her a vote. We'll see what happens with this new age. They vote for anything. I think it's good that Carla did not use her immunity idol. It's good to keep that a secret because if she used that right then and there, her alliance would have been intact for the night, but she would have been the first one to go instead of everyone else. It wouldn't have been James anymore. Speaking of which, I feel like the reason why James got voted out, like I'm happy Owen stayed, and I'm happy they made that move, but I feel like the main reason James got voted out was because at the end of the day, everyone knew he had that vote, that steal and advantage. And it's got to get to the point where in Survivor 44 that they stop making it so that it's easily publicized that people have an advantage. You know what I mean? This is the reason that it happens, despite the fact that they haven't really done so much of anything so far, which in James's case, he is looked at as like the big boss. But at the same time, even if he hadn't done some of those things, people still would have voted him out just because everyone knew he had the advantage. You know what I'm saying? It's not good for the player when they're forced on that journey sometimes. Anyway, it's also good strategy for both Cody and Jesse to see like how the votes fall on the first tribal council. Now that they see James is gone, they may take the shot at Cassidy. It's either going to be Cassidy or Ryan. Ryan's the easy vote. At this point, I'm not sure why Ryan's the easy vote. I guess everyone just doesn't like Ryan. But at this point, it should seem like a Gabler, who is actually kind of building a quiet resume, which it wasn't what I was expecting. But Gabler, Jesse, and Cody may vote out Cassidy tonight. I don't remember of any advantages on that side. I completely forgot that Noel had a vote steal advantage. I completely forgot about that. We'll see how it falls. Looking in future prospects and whatnot, I think that is a good move of both Cody and Jesse to vote out Ryan. Because at least this way, Carla doesn't completely go back blindsided. You know, she still has Cassidy, so by that extension, she still feels like she has Gabler, Ryan, or Gabler, Cody, and Jesse. So she still feels like she has numbers. So it sets up for an easier blindside. So good move on their part. Good move on Gabler for being in on like a plan, considering I thought he was just ostracized out of like the group multiple times. I don't know what's going to happen next, but with Carla losing another number, Owen's still around. Owen's still probably going to be the main target. That being said, I'm not sure where they're going to go from there, especially seeing how Carla joined in on the vote for James. It's at a point now where it's like everyone's just afraid to like not vote with the majority. So now I'm not really sure what lines are being drawn. It's a little harder to decipher. Okay, gonna watch episode 10. I apologize if I sound a little annoyed this episode. Just had to spend like 50 million years just trying to fight with a fucking YouTube video for a short. Jesus Christ, that was annoying. I really wish we would get to see why Sammy was thinking of including Carla in that vote. Because, I mean, it only really helped her game. Now that she jumped in on that blind side, sure, she may have lost the vote, but at the same time, she still appears workable towards everyone else in the tribe. Why did he do that? I don't get it at all. Okay, so knowledge bomb. I guess everyone knows about Carla's idol. This is weird. I don't I know it usually happens, but I'm not used to like seeing it like this, where it's like everything is just kind of explained off screen and whatnot. Tribal Council is about to start up, so a couple things before it does start. One, I'm happy that someone's seeing that Jesse and Cody are absolutely the front runners to win the show. So I'm glad they're going to be targets. And it's like I was saying before, I don't expect them to make it very far. Similar to Sammy, but not really so much. The targets seem to be Noel, and then a split vote between Carla and Sammy. But I think the target's Carla. I don't know why Noel keeps trusting Jesse or Cody. They've literally screwed her over twice before this. You know, I guess she doesn't really have. I guess she's just desperate for numbers at this point because she's always on. She's usually been on like the wrong side of the votes. It seems like I don't even remember like the track record. I think James was one of the few, if not the only one that she was right on. I think what's going to end up happening is I think no matter what, it's going to be Noel. I don't see anyone flipping on anyone. I think Noel matches the one guy from Vanuatu in terms of placement. I don't actually know. I'd have to go and check that, to be honest with you. As for standings, I think Carla's still in a good position. I think Cassidy's still in a good position. Gabler, for a strange reason, is still in a good position. Jesse and Cody, they're in good positions, but because they're in such a good position for so long, I don't think it's going to last very long. Owens, I think, permanently going to stay at the bottom at this point, along with Noelle if she makes it past his vote. And Sammy, kind of in between. I don't think he's ever going to have like power, but he's not the first person that people are going to target to go home. If anything, they may just goat him. Sad to see Noelle go, but it is what it is. She went in there with multiple disadvantages to begin with. Even if she made it to the final three, well, if she made it to the final three, she would have won. But it would have been hard for her to make it to the final three just because of like her story out there. I'm interested to see what happens next episode because apparently Gabe's got a plan for final three, whatever that means. Not really sure how serious of a player I've been taking Gabler. I've been noting he's doing well. He's been doing well because he's been staying off the radar while at the same time still being in on every single plan. And there are players like that who's won in the past, but we'll see whatever this big plan is coming up. I'm not really sure how to feel about the season. Like it's okay. I like the cast. I like the gameplay. Good blindsides and stuff like that, but I don't know. It's starting to feel a little predictable sometimes. That could just be this episode. We'll see how it goes. I don't know if it'll come out on the microphone, but I'm like battling with some kind of like throat infection or something. I don't even know what it is. Maybe a minor cold. But I might sound weird every once in a while. Anyway, Survivor, episode 11. All right. A quick couple notes before the tribal council happens. The targets look like Cassidy or Sammy. I'm not really sure which one's going to happen because, on the one hand, Jesse's plan is almost too ridiculous to like not try. But on the other hand, Cody makes a good point because it is true that Cassidy's 100% been almost winning multiple challenges. Speaking of the challenges, this one looked like torture. Like I've seen that one before multiple times. It's happened multiple times, but for some reason, this one looked like the worst of the worst. Like I've never really seen the tide come up to a point where it was just like virtual waterboarding people. You know what I mean? It always seemed like a constant from what I remember back in the day. I don't know if I agree with the decision of them ending the challenge like that. I don't know. It just felt like they kind of gave up. Like 2 hours is a long time. I understand that, but knowing how some of these challenges have lasted longer than that, I don't know. It seemed weird. If Cody is able to pull this off, it probably would be one of the greater moves in Survivor history. If he pulls it off, I don't know if he can get people to do it. The thing that kind of annoyed me so far was I don't want to say Gaber being ignored, but I don't know. I felt like it was kind of built up in the next time on part of the last episode where he had a plan, and it didn't really view him. It didn't really show him having a plan. It just said, "Oh, I'm good with everyone. Don't worry, I have a plan." And it's not really a plan. He's just playing basic, keeping the background Survivor. You know what I mean? If he makes it there and he's not sitting next to either Cody or Jesse, has a good shot at winning. Problem is, he's probably going to be sitting next to either Jesse or Cody or even Carla, for that matter, the way things are going. I feel sorry for Owen, the fact that he's pointed out he's been on the wrong side of the votes every single time. One would think, you don't have to be on the right side of the votes every single time to even win this show, which is fair enough. But the only other way you win that with being on the wrong side of the votes nowadays is you just got to be the biggest fan favorite and sitting next to the worst of the worst kind of person. And no one on here is like that. I do see a possibility of Owen winning, but it's a very slim chance. I don't know what Carla's doing here. I get being paranoid about that idol, but that's why you never tell anyone about your idol. You know what I mean? Didn't you watch last season? Literally, someone won because they never told anyone about that idol until like the very end when they could just show it off and flaunt it. We'll see if it comes back to bite her in the butt or anything like that. Actually, either way, I think it's going to bite her in the butt anyways, because either way, she's burning somebody in a way that she doesn't need to burn. I'm trying to predict that Sammy will be the one that gets voted out. I think these people will think through and realize that if they vote out Sammy, there's still another couple that other people can target. And so both Jesse and Cody will realize that they have basically bought themselves an extra tribal council or an extra fight before everyone comes and takes their heads. Just finished tribal council. The vote's about to start. I completely forgot about the fact that shot in the dark advantage even existed in this new season. So if he actually does play it, it would be pretty interesting because I mean, they were barely utilized on season 41. They weren't utilized at all in season 40. Oh no, it was used once. In this season, it's kind of become a forgotten thing. I would expect it more considering there's been a lot of landslide votes. So I guess it speaks to the gameplay. Everyone's just trusting everybody too openly. Sammy's the first one to realize that everyone's lying to him the way he's been lying to everybody else. Right, so I had the right prediction, just not the right way the prediction would happen. Sammy did get voted out, but Carla didn't get egg on her face, at least not yet. Seems like the episode's teasing that that's going to happen next time anyways. It seems like everyone's just ready to turn on each other at this point. It's going to be an interesting final six, to say the least. With the six left standing in the game, the most dangerous is Cody at this point. The second most dangerous is Carla. Third most is Jesse. After that, those three, I think that those three need to make a move against those top three. Problem is, it's going to be difficult to do at this point because now those three are basically in with everybody. And it's at a point where now you're just going to do nothing but vote with blocks instead of stay with an alliance at this point, because alliances don't mean anything anymore nowadays. I don't know, the way they have pointed it out multiple times, I don't see both Cody and Jesse making it to the end. I don't see Carla making it to the end. Maybe one of them will make it to the end, but not all three of them. If all three of them make it to there, then someone needs to be ashamed of themselves. I gotta admit, I'm going into this with a little bit of a spoiler. I know enough to know that Carla makes it to the end, unfortunately. I caught a glimpse of the tribal council after the vote. I don't know who got voted out, but I know Carla survives it to make Final Five. And so we'll see if that matters at all. They'd move on everybody else by turning both Cassidy and Carla on each other like that. It may be Cassidy that goes home, unfortunately. Carla really has no one to blame but herself. She must have realized that she was in a good position like everyone else saw, and she just got paranoid, which is unfortunate. Either way, Cassidy or Carla voting for each other is not good. They need to stick together because there's still two big threats in the game, which are both Cody and Jesse. I'm amazed that they're still not voted out. I've said multiple times that they're going to probably be the first ones voted out, and here they are almost about to make Final Five. I don't understand how that's happening. They're very good. Also, just a quick note before we continue. I completely forgot about the fact that Jesse had an idol. I did not remember that at all. I really wish I didn't see a spoiler ahead, because that would have been crazy to witness, not knowing beforehand. You know what I mean? Good move by Jesse. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm glad someone finally had the cojones to take down either Cody or Jesse. I think Carla still is in winning potential. I think Jesse definitely is in winning potential. I believe he still has Janine's idol. That's what he said. So he still has an idol. So he's going to make it past Final Five regardless. The weird thing is I'm having a hard time making a case for Gabler and Owen. Both of them are in on blind sides a lot of the time, but they were never really a driving force. So unfortunately, if they sit next to either Jesse or Carla, they're not going to be able to make it. The advantage Cassidy has is that she still was in control a majority of the time. So I think if she sits next to either Owen or Gabler, she probably wins. We'll see how this goes in episode 13. Either Carla or Jesse are going to win. And if neither of them win, then it's probably going to be Cassidy. In order for any of them to have a shot, Carla needs to go next, and then Jesse needs to follow right after. Otherwise, one of them has it in the bag. If both of them make it to the final three, I will be shocked. 100%. Season finale time. It'd be stupid of Jesse to take out Cassidy right here. He needs to take out Carla. There's no reason of keeping Carla on. I would be very shocked if Carla did not go here. Okay. Carla just got voted out. First note. Yes, Jesse still has a perfect game. Your vote didn't matter. He played an idol on himself, so he still very much does have a perfect game. Second of all, why did she play her shot in the dark? Can she not do that anymore? Do I need to refresh on how the shot in the dark works? Because I mean, it was mentioned and like mostly explained all the way back in season 41, but it wasn't re-explained in season 42, and it really wasn't explained here in season 43. Like, when does it stop being a thing? Got to the second tribal council of the episode. I don't know who's starting the campfire. I assume it's Gabler, but at the same time, it's like he didn't look good. All they showed me was how he didn't do well in practice in front of Cassidy. I don't really know who's making that fire because they don't really show who's making the fire at camp. It wasn't a good move by Jesse to vote out Carla. It was a good move by the other three. Jesse, by all means, should have tried to keep Carla. I feel like I'm not seeing something about who's making the fire back at camp, and I feel like that would be Gabler. As for Jesse, I don't know. Like, he's like the male version of Sanjo. In terms of physical prowess, he's not really that good, but in terms of social play, he's really great. All right, so Jesse's gone. I'm thankful because this is probably the most exciting final three that this season could provide at this point, which is Cassidy, Owen, and Gabler. That being said, I also think it's not very exciting at all because it should just be Cassidy who wins. I mean, all due respect to Owen and Gabler, Owen doesn't really have anything to brag about, and neither does Gabler, really. Gabler might have a little more than Owen, but Owen is way more likable, I think. It should just be Cassidy who wins. Unless she completely botches this final tribal council, which, I mean, I've seen it happen before, so maybe it will. At this point, it would either be Cassidy or Owen. Unfortunately, I don't really know if Gabler can win. But who knows? Maybe that fire making challenge went well. If I were a betting man, I'd put my money on Cassidy. As for who I want to win, maybe Gabler, I guess. It's funny because like the one person I wanted to win was Carla. She got voted out. And the reason I wanted to win is because it'd be completely out of left field as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? What I'm trying to say is that this final three is kind of predictable. That being said, it's also the most exciting, you know? It would have been obvious if Carla made it to the end that Carla would have won. It would have been obvious if Jesse made it to the end that Jesse would have won. With these three, at least there's still some room for interpretation. Emphasis on the some. I guess I'm rooting for Gabler. Even though I don't think Gabler should win. It should either be Cassidy or maybe Owen. But if Gabler wins, it'd be completely out of left field, and I wouldn't be able to help but laugh. What? Who doesn't vote for Cassidy? How does Cassidy not win there? I did not think Gabler was gonna win. The people who won, Gabler won? How does Cassidy not win? She literally won. What the hell? She gave the good answers too. Why did they pick Gabler? Gabler won? How did that even happen? I almost want to like watch again just to see how he won. I want to say he got a purple edit, but he really didn't get a purple edit. I kind of always knew where Gabler was. He was just kind of in the background. I feel like if you're in the background too long, you don't win. Cassidy was in the background, but she showed up near the end. How did she not win? I figured Owen wasn't gonna win, but Cassidy not winning? How did Gabler walk away with this win? I don't understand it. I'm watching the after show. So originally, I was gonna remember this season as like the season of obvious targets. It was always seemed to be like an arc of the show where that was kind of the case. There was always like a big obvious target. In the Blue Tribe, it was Geo. In the Red Tribe, to me, it was always Cody and Jesse. And then when we get to the merge, it's Carla, Cody, and Jesse that are running the show, and they eventually got out. And that's how I was gonna remember the season, of people finally like just taking on every single big threat they could get. But now I'm kind of just gonna remember the season as the season where Gabler beat Cassidy. I like Co Wrong for multiple reasons, but I think a lot of the reason people remember Co Wrong is because they remember that as a season where Michelle beat Aubrey. And I'm trying to decide which one between these two seasons is the bigger shock. And I feel like Gabler is the bigger shock. Because, I mean, when it came to Michelle beating Aubrey, you kind of sensed it was coming on that final episode. You see her working the jury, you see the jury enjoying everything she's saying, you see her making good bonds with Ty and stuff like that. Like, you could see her gameplay. She lands really strong. Is Gabler? I don't know. Maybe I missed something, but I never really did take him seriously. Like, sure, there were small little snippets of the editing showing him, look, I got this master plan, and you should definitely take me seriously as a player, but I thought that was just them acknowledging Gabler, you know what I mean? I still didn't take him seriously. And even during the final tribal council, even Owen and Cassidy were nailing the mark. Gabler was kind of doing okay, and yeah, he was making people laugh, but I mean, just because you make people laugh doesn't necessarily guarantee you the win. What I didn't see was that people did take him seriously. You know what I mean? I didn't see this checklist that Carla was talking about. It's like one of those things where you see the stats, but you don't really see what's actually happening because you can't see what's actually happening. All they show you in the edited show is the stats. I wished Gabler would win, but that was mainly for a joke. I probably would have voted for Cassidy to win. So I'm shocked he got that many votes as it was. I'm shocked she only got one vote. I'm curious to see how everyone else feels about this as well, because I mean, if I'm thinking this stuff, probably the majority of the other people are seeing this too, unless I'm just oblivious, in which case, please watch my video and be oblivious because it's unique. Those are mainly my opinions of season 43. I'm anxious to do season 44. I'll see you then.